Hello and welcome to Business Ethics. My name is Dr. Matt Hallam, and I'm excited to be your professor this semester. If you've had classes with me before, you may be familiar with a little bit of their format. For those that are new, let me just explain up front that's a little different than other classes you may take here at GBS or at other colleges. And the reason for that is that we don't start right at the beginning of the semester and then we only meet once a week. So for this particular class, we're going to meet on Thursdays. So it's not going to be a Tuesday, Thursday class. We'll just simply meet on Thursdays from 12:30 until 1:50. We'll be in Knapp. So that's the upper level of the Knapp Chapel building in room 219. We won't start meeting until March 5th. So if you show up before that, if you show up this Thursday or next Thursday, anytime between here and now, March 5th, there won't be any classes because we won't have class meetings and assignments won't be due until then either. That being said, you're very welcome to work ahead. It is a 3 credit class. You're going to do a full semester's worth of work. And the sooner you can start working on that, the easier it will be for you along the line. As far as this class for the books, you have one free book that's embedded in the course. It's not something you need to purchase. And then there's a second book that you'll need to buy, which is called Business for the Common Good. And the details for that are out in the book list. They're also in Buzz. So you can check that and order that online. It shouldn't be an expensive book, but hopefully it's something that you find helpful. Some of the assignments, Donna, just a little bit different here to make it more interesting. We're going to do podcast video reflections. So you'll be listening to 2 different podcast series through American Scandal. So the interesting thing with business ethics is that we get to talk about ethics and where that line is drawn and talk about the good side of it, but we also get to look at the cases where people haven't been so ethical. So these podcast series detail out 2 different organizations and occurrences where ethics weren't so strong, and you'll be able to learn some lessons from that, hopefully. I chose the podcast, I listened through it, and they were interesting to me, and I felt like they would be helpful for this class. However, there may be on occasion some language or some other things that we wouldn't agree with. For those occurrences, I apologize. I'm not for certain that there is. I picked ones that I thought were clean, but if there is one of that and if it's excessive, please let me know so that I can adjust that for future classes. And also my apologies in advance if it is, but I have done my best to censor it and make sure that it's something that you can learn from, but also isn't anything that's going to be objectionable to you. For those, you'll listen to it, and then each week I have a few questions that you'll answer about the episode, and you'll actually do that as a video. So you'll just record yourself on your phone or on your computer or whatever, and then you'll upload that as the assignment, and that will be your reflection. Should be about 1 minute to 2 minutes in length. You don't want to get much longer than that, otherwise the file is going to be too large. You're also going to have handwritten reading notes. So as you read through the books, then just write down notes on that. I'm looking for about a page of content for that, and I do look over those and see if it's relevant stuff. So it's just all scribbles and it seems like nonsense, not helpful. I'm wanting you to do this because the practice of reading and also writing it down helps you to retain the information. So please put yourself into that. You'll have a written assignment that will take place in a Google document. So this can't be a PDF or a Word document. I don't want you to write it in a Word document. I want you to create a Google document at the beginning of the semester. And it's in that document that each week you will journal out your thoughts about a statement of business ethics, which you'll present to me in person in my office or somewhere else at the end of the semester. But that will need to be done in there. If it's shown that you're copy pasting it in, or if there's um, any evidence of AI being used, then you'll get a 0 for that assignment. But please just make sure you follow the instructions carefully on that. You have chapter tests, which you can do each time, just write in Buzz. And if you've done my classes before, you're familiar with that. That just goes over the reading for each week. We also will have discussions and exercises that you'll do in class. So these are detailed out there. If you miss a class, you can still do this. And I have that intentionally because we'll have some virtual weeks throughout the semester where you may not be able to come to class, where we won't even be having class. And in that case, for you to get the credit for it, then you'll need to complete that on your own. So there'll also be one presentation at the end of the semester. This will be over the book that you purchase, Business for the Common Good. And you'll pick out 3 chapters that were meaningful to you from the book and then do a presentation on that. But that's just a little overview of this course. I'm excited to be your professor. It starts on March 5th, but feel free to get started right away. If you have any questions, you can find me around campus and ask me, and come to my office, call me, text me, email me, and I'll do my very best to be accessible for you so that you can succeed in this course.